Hello, a warm welcome to today's webinar From Paper to Smart. My name is Maximilian Weiß. I'm the head of sales for the food department in Germany and also in charge of our global retail key accounts at the Testo Saveris company. Testo Saveris is an affiliated company of the Testo Group. With a worldwide presence, we are the experts for the food and pharma industry and support you with all relevant measurements, such as temperature for sure. Before we start with our webinar, just one organizational hint. The webinar will take about 45 minutes. And if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to put them in the Q&A tool you hopefully see. And we're going to answer the questions either live or at the end of the webinar, we have a Q&A session planned. Now I want to introduce you to my colleague, Yannick Mann.
Yes, also welcome from my side. My name is Yannick Mann. I'm working for Testo Saveris for approximately 1.5 years now. In my role as European sales manager, I am supporting and managing together with the sales colleagues within several European countries, different projects within industries such as retail, QSR, catering, and more. Let's start right away with the agenda for today. So the topic is From Paper to Smart, Mastering HACCP Process Digitally. So what can you expect? We will point out possible challenges when implementing an HACCP system. We will show what Smart actually adds, what is it about, and how does it make a difference. We will talk about digital and smart solutions, different kind of tools, features, and we will also show you a couple of best practices. Afterwards, we will show actual application examples within different industries, different types where such smart and digital products and applications are applied. We will give an outlook to the future. What does it mean? What kind of trends are there? And we'll also have a final conclusion. And we will finish with a quick Q&A session. As Max already stated, you can put in the questions during the webinar already, but please do so via the special Q&A tool. And depending on the time, we will answer as many questions as possible directly within the webinar. And if we shouldn't be able to answer all of them, we will send you a written answer afterwards.
Right, let's dig in. Let's dig into the topic here. And we want to start the topic actually with a question. So what challenges do you currently see when it comes to HACCP documentation? We have 4 options. You can also choose more than one of them. The first would be documentation, so any problems when it comes to documentation. Maybe you're afraid of any fraud, so manipulation as an option, mistakes your employees could make, or the overall time it takes to be 100% precise on your HACCP. So we are starting a live poll now, and you should see in a second on your screen, you should see the options and you can click. So please do so. We give you a couple of time here. Please click what challenges you currently see.
If there are several challenges that you currently face, you can also choose several options.
Give you 10 more seconds here. We already see that the results are coming in.
I think we are fine.
3, 2, 1. All right. Yeah. So there's not a top answer. We have mistakes of the employees with 55%. We have time really clicked a lot of times, and followed by documentation and then manipulation. So that's understandable. It takes time to be 100% HACCP compliant. Also, it could be that there are mistakes. I mean, wherever humans are working, it can happen that you measure wrong, or that the transferring of the data you measured to the sheets you have in place are wrong. So that's understandable, but definitely we learn from you that there's not one topic and other minor topics. Seems like a lot of topics are relevant here when it comes to HACCP documentation. Yeah, let's take it from there.
So let's close and come back to our presentation. So first topic on the agenda, the challenges that you might face within your daily business when it's about implementing an HACCP system. So one of the topics is, of course, there are several regulatory things to consider. It's complex and standards are evolving. So what we have to say right away is that HACCP is really not optional. I can only speak for the European countries, but in the European Union, food businesses must follow the European Union regulation. Then there are additional national food hygiene laws, and they all require detailed documentation, monitoring of critical control points. And as mentioned, those standards evolve, so retraining is necessary. But those regulations actually change. There can also be different interpretations by authorities. Audits may focus on different details. So also different formats are expected. So keeping us really not non-trivial. Then there is resource constraints. We should focus probably on one hand on the financial aspect. So the equipment is an investment, of course. Then a separate documentation system, and you have costs for certification and audits as well. And on the other hand, it's about time. Time is really valuable. It's a really valuable resource in a dynamic world and society. So, for example, staff needs to manage and handle the HACCP plan. It's about the monitoring of the critical control points. You have to document all of it. If necessary, you potentially have to manage required corrective actions. So these tasks may compete with tasks that you have in a daily business where a focus is needed, maybe like food preparation services or directly customer related operations. Then it's about knowledge and training gaps. So first of all, you have to identify the hazards, whether it's biological, chemical, or physical hazards. They are specific to your products and the processes. So for employees, it probably requires scientific or industry special knowledge or background. And misidentification or just too generic checklists can lead to recontrols. And then on the other hand, of course, there's staff turnover that we are all facing in most countries. So you have to teach people, they come and go. Some may not have an extensive background. So that's also something that you have to consider. It's also the manual paper-based burdens and the risk errors, of course. Whether it's paper or manual logs, temperature readings, cleaning schedules, audit trails, these are all error-prone. For example, because of illegible writing, missing entries, an entry wasn't done in time, so you just skipped it to another day, so they are postponed. So data can get lost and also misfiled. And that could lead in delays in error detection. For instance, wrong temperature in a cold chain may go unnoticed until it's too late and already led to spoilage or an audit detects it. And last but not least, traceability and audit pressure. Audits often require retrospective proof for every critical control point. If this documentation is incomplete or it's just difficult to access because you don't have it digitalized already, the audit itself can be very stressful and costly, or it could even fail. And in case of recall or kind of customer complaint, you also must be able to transparently trace back ingredients, batches, and processes. But often the current record systems are not set up for fast traceability.
Right. So thank you, Yannick. What are the consequences if you do not address those challenges well? It can lead to penalties, so fines. I mean, the worst penalty probably is that your business has to shut down, that you're not allowed to open anymore, maybe for a day, maybe for good. So penalties. And then second option, product loss. So to be precise, waste, which is overall money, which you don't have to spend it anymore, and your product goes directly into the garbage instead of being able to serve it to your customers. So that's something you can avoid. And maybe the most important reason is a damage to your brand reputation. So just imagine how fast bad press spreads, especially we are online through social media, for example. The speed of that bad news is so fast compared to good news, actually, which is sad, but it's the truth. So you can think of some examples in your country. There are also, especially when it comes to international brands, like worldwide examples. So you do not want to be that company who's in the press. And it doesn't matter if you are like a small restaurant, if you are a bistro, if you have an ice parlor, or you name it. You want a good reputation. That's why it's so important. So as you saw in the title, our title of the webinar is From Paper to Smart. So what does smart actually mean?
Yeah, now that we learned about not only the challenges when implementing an HACCP system, but also the consequences it could lead to if you don't address these challenges well, we will start talking about what is smart, actually.
All right. So in our definition, smart means being intelligent, connected, and to have user-friendly tools. So devices which collect the data automatically, which are also connected, and for example, like wireless measurements, the network, the devices are in one network, and all the data gets stored. We have cloud or app-based platforms for monitoring dashboards where the analytics take place. Also, user-friendly tools, mobile apps. You can use tablets, or you have maybe an MDE device which you're using. I think the integration into the system is like really important. That all the different parts of the HACCP is linked. You can analyze the information in real time, and so your staff is able to be better in decision making, because it's not up to a well-trained staff member. The system supports in judging in what to do next if XYZ happens. So that's what we understand when we talk about smart here.
So now we are going to do another poll. We would like to handle this webinar as interactive as possible, so that's why we started another poll. Probably the most of you are using smart and digital devices, apps, or AI-supported systems or programs in your private surroundings already. I, for example, the last fridge I bought is already including sensors that show me the temperature on a special app. And for example, I see when my wife was shopping and putting everything into the fridge because I see the door is open for too long. But what we are interested in is whether you are using such devices, products, applications in your business life already. So now we can only choose one option. It's either yes or no. Let's start with the poll.
Do you use already smart products in your company? Easy questions, yes or no. It's not related to HACCP, general. Looks like a close race as of right now. Give you maybe 10 more seconds here.
I think we can close it. So what it shows us is, yeah, that's nearly 50-50. 7 of you mentioned that you work smart within your company already, and 6 answered with no. So it's not easy to interpret, but yeah, for example, when it's about no, it could be that, for example, there are obstacles why a decision is not made yet. It's also a topic that we will come back later within our webinar. For the others, it's probably that you also already taking advantage of the benefits that are offered by smart products, which leads us to the next topic. What are the sorry. So what are the actual benefits of going or being smart, referring to digital solutions? So why smart makes a difference actually? It helps you to reduce errors, and of course it starts with your automation. For example, real-time sensors reduce manual measurements. In a cold storage where you continuously log data rather than somebody has to go in twice a day and takes the measurement manually. You could add automatic alerts when critical limits are reached or exceeded. Then you have immediate corrective actions possible. Yes. Of course, it's always about the monetary stuff as well. So time and cost savings. Of course, less labor hours are needed for documentation. It's also about less chasing, missing logs, or maybe you could even get rid of chasing for missing data. It's faster for audit preparation, yeah, because you can print and export the reports instantly rather than scanning through filing cabinets. And it's also can be used preventional. So prevention of loss caused by incorrect storage, for example, by early detection. Next one is improved traceability and audit readiness. So digital storage with timestamps are possible. Every measurement, every corrective action is recorded, and it's accessible from anywhere and all the time. If something goes wrong, which just happens, you can trace back not just by day or by shift, but you could also go back by a badge, by location, or even by supplier. It leads to better data, so to better decisions. So the more data you have, the more you have to evaluate and can use it for decision making. for example, when one certain delivery is always arrives with elevated temperature, you will know that. And also for predictive maintenance, for example, the sensors can show you when equipment is degrading, which is of course bad for the cooling efficiency. Then compliance and legal security. The digital data is of course much harder to falsify or to manipulate. It's an audit-proof record, which also strengthens your legal position, or of course is also improving your brand reputation in the end. And it ensures that you meet legal obligations. And last but not least, it's about employee engagement and just simpler training. Smart tools often bring much clearer instructions, a simple workflow, alert reminders. It helps especially for new or non-expert staff to follow the procedures in the correct way. That leads to less frustration from staff having to do all this tedious paperwork, and so it also reduces resistance for the controls itself.
Right. So that sounds really, really good. And but still, not as we already saw during through the poll we just made with you, not everybody is working smart already in their company. So why? There have to be some barriers. Let's talk about those. So the barriers could be upfront costs. For sure, that's an investment you have to take. An investment. I mean, in times of inflation, everything gets more expensive. Maybe you have a reduction on your budget, so investment is blocked. Definitely, we're talking about costs here. I'm pretty sure you have already some existing systems, maybe a software you use for a different topic, maybe some devices, and you do not want to add system after another. So it's important that another add-on system here kind of integrates in your existing systems. Then the topic staff training. Whatever comes new needs to be trained. Your people, your staff has to be able to really operate with the system, so needs to be trained. And we can think of also some kind of skepticism in reliability. I mean, that data is sensitive when it comes to food safety. That's really sensitive. So you might be a little skeptic about where the data is actually stored, who has access to the data. So those are barriers which could block you from investing in a digital HACCP solution. But where barriers are, there are also solutions. So let's talk about some solutions, how you could overcome those barriers. Systems like ours, they are modular, so you can start small and they're scalable. You can start with one device, and it comes with an application where all the data gets transferred automatically. And then if you like it, if you build trust over the time, you can add devices. You can also add sensors. So the possibilities are huge, but you do not have to start with a full big investment here. You can start small. There might be also government grants in your country. We definitely know about some countries where the government helps you, supports you when it comes to investment in food safety. Also, you can clearly calculate on ROI. This can be clearly calculated so you know when the money really pays off. And also vendors like us, we offer training, we offer support online or at the site actually where the magic happens. So as I said, start small to build trust. When it comes to a bigger solution and a lot of devices. You can also run a pilot. If you like it, you do it. If you're a restaurant chain, for example, or you have different locations, you can start in one location, and when you can check it off and say like, that's helping, then you add your other locations.
When it's about a smart and digital solution for an HACCP system, the question is, of course, what would you probably look in for in such a tool? So first of all, you need reliable sensors for temperature or other parameters such as humidity, and it should maybe come even with calibration options. Then you need any kind of IoT capabilities to transfer the data continuously. A dashboard on a mobile or tablet would be helpful, of course. Automatic alerts and everything that comes with it. So what are these features and functions in depth? As mentioned, the sensors and the system together, a continuous monitoring versus spot check is of course a huge advantage. Smart sensors in cold rooms can capture temperature fluctuations that spot checks definitely might miss. We could even check door openings, equipment warming during defrost cycles, and so on. Alerts and thresholds. When measurement nears or exceeds critical limits, you will have an automatic alarm, which needs an immediate action that you will know about. Dashboards are, of course, a topic. You need to overview visually. You have to have graphs about trends, seasonal variances, and you need to be prepared for reports and audits with already specified templates. Example solutions that are already existing are, of course, standard stationary temperature monitoring systems. For example, with wireless sensors for cold storage, where you automatically log temperature every few minutes, and it sends an alert if it's above threshold. Combined infrared and penetration probes. We will show an application where it's usually used later on. Example for incoming goods, where you check the surface temperature first, and then you go ahead with the penetration probe if necessary. Universal mobile thermometers, where you can use different kind of probes depending on the application, on the parameter, on the surroundings. And finally, also oil quality measurement, where like instead of doing these visual checks, you measure the oil quality and also for example, the outcome of oil treatment by filtering numerically by checking the TPM value. And how could you implement such a system? First of all, you assess the critical points. You probably start with small pilot, you engage the staff, you set up documentation workflows so that people get used to something and get familiar with. Then you maintain the equipment, you calibrate if necessary, and you verify it. And in the end, you review the data, and if necessary, you adapt your HACCP plan.
Right. Yeah, this was maybe kind of theoretical. Let's be a bit more precise. Let's give you some application examples. So on the picture here, maybe start from left to right. On the picture here, you can see a measurement device here for temperature. You see we are at a storing room probably, where the surface temperature is measured through infrared, and then the data gets transferred automatically to an application. You can set a predefined corridor, so you know if the products are good to go or if any action needs to take place. The middle picture shows, I think those are yogurts, where with a penetration probe, the core temperature is measured. Actually, the same device here. And also the data gets transferred automatically. So you do not have that human error where any problems, any mistakes could be made from when it comes to transferring the data. So this is pretty awesome. And on the right side, we're probably at a catering business, maybe a restaurant with a buffet. So you can see at this food counter, the temperature gets measured. Actually, that's a device here where you can attach different probes. So the probe what suits the application best, and you see also with the same application. So all this information from different applications gets stored in one platform where you have this information 24/7 available. Yeah, next picture where we are here. This is probably a kitchen where frying oil is handled. So frying oil, I'm not sure if you all are aware. So the common practice, how the quality of frying oil is defined, that's actually still by looking at the oil and judging by color if this oil is still good to go or if you need to change it. But the quality of the oil has a immediate effect on your product quality, and definitely you want your fries or whatever needs to be fried, you want that product quality to be consistent. And how do you achieve it? The oil needs to be consistent. The oil quality needs to be consistent as well. So you see here a measuring device which measures actually the TPM value. How this actually works, that's maybe Yannick, that's one of our next webinars. But to give you a little teaser here, and it's really easy to use. You see by the color, here it shows red, so obviously that means stop. The product quality or the oil quality is no longer in that range you want the oil to be, so an action needs to take place. And again, the data is transferred directly to an application, the same application as we saw before.
Yeah, but with the TPM value, but it also works the other way around. For example, if your oil is still good to go, but just because you have it in any kind of checks that you have to do, you usually change your oil every day or every second day, or and maybe the oil is still good to go. So you can also save money by checking the TPM value.
Yeah, just imagine how the cost of oil developed through the last couple of months and years. So you do not want to change the oil too early. That's something your pocket gets affected right away. So on the next picture, you see where actually devices can be used. So you see, let's start on the top right. You see incoming goods check. That's most of you probably have to do that. Doesn't matter if it's a restaurant, if it's a retailer, if we're talking about a caterer, if you prepare food, if you store food, the incoming goods, they have to be checked. And that's where a smart device can help you. Also, when it comes to storage, so storage of the products, the temperature, maybe also humidity. Here in this example, we're talking about temperature. They need to be in a certain corridor. So it doesn't matter if it's a cooler or a freezer. There are limits, and you need to know 24/7 if those corridors are correct. So there are devices which can help you to spot check it. In a second, I will also tell you that there are also other options where you can attach sensors which are collecting the data automatically. And on the left side, you see a kitchen here where, for example, there is a frying station, there is definitely an oven where the food is prepared. So you also, you maybe want to spot check, especially before serving the food, if the temperature is correct. So you can use, to conclude, you can use devices at every single stage here, from incoming checks to storage, over preparation, before serving. You can use devices to make sure that your predefined temperature corridors are correct, and that all gets concluded in one application. So, as I already kind of teasered, there are also sensors. We talk about a full solution, and when we are talking about a full solution, it's always this triangle of software, sensors, and services. So a software where the analytics take place, where all this information comes together, the documentation of the data, and also the corrective actions you took, which is documented here. So not only for audits, but also for seeing if your processes work well, if there are any adjustments needed, especially when we talk about somebody who has like more than one location. You can see the different locations, how they're working, if everything works well, and you can sleep well. Then that's what the software can do, and where the software can help you. Then I already mentioned the sensors. So they're not only handhelds, which need to be where you need to take them in your hand and really physically measure. You can also mount sensors to a cooler, to a freezer, and the data gets transferred automatically. That's something what can really help, especially when it comes to storing of products. And to complete that triangle, there's also a service part vendors like us can support you with. So, for example, translating your current processes, which are still on paper, to the digital world. So what does it mean when it comes to checks? Which corrective actions need to be added? And that's something we can help you with. Also, installation of those sensors, definitely training of the staff, and also if anything goes wrong, if you have a problem, either is it maybe a technical one or just a question which comes up, there's a help desk as a service vendors like us offer. Last but not least, you might come to a point in the future where you think about calibration of those devices, either handhelds or sensors. So what is pretty unique with Testo actually is that we offer calibration as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Max.
Yeah, Yannick, let's talk about the future.
Yeah, we promised to give you also a quick outlook. So what is coming next when it's about a topic like what is the general development and what are trends? So there's definitely the need for IoT and edge computing, more devices that process data locally for instant decisions, even if connectivity is lost. Of course, it's about AI and machine learning. Predicting risk before it happens will help in the future, and we'll get more and more used to. Pre-warning management is a topic for sure. Blockchain and traceability for high value or sensitive supply chains such as organic or allergen-free products. You need full traceability from farm to fork. And it's also expected by the consumers to increase the transparency about these kind of products. There's of course mobile or voice interfaces. Staff may use voice commands, augmented reality, or just portable devices. And regulation and standard convergence, so digital standards. More regulatory bodies will accept or require digital tamper-evident data. So to wrap up with a final conclusion, those smart solutions are not just gadgets. These are actually tools that address real pain points in HACCP documentation about errors, time, compliance, and traceability. The investment will pay off. We'll have fewer losses, less stress in audits, stronger legal, but also or especially brand protection, and also a more consistent product quality and so customer experience. And as we mentioned several times, you don't need to start with the full thing right away. You can start small and can validate and scale later on. And the future is definitely digital. Those who embrace smart HACCP now will be ahead, whether it's about regulation in front of your customer or when it's about risk exposures.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of content. So why don't you think of whatever questions you might have, just put them in the Q&A tool. And we are looking into that right now and see if there are already questions in there. We received a question if that recording of the webinar is distributed afterwards. Yes, you will definitely get the recording. And let's see if there are other questions. So how can Testo help you implementing a digital HACCP system? I would say it depends. We definitely can help you. You should approach us. We're talking about it. And what is maybe the most important thing here is it's not just a generic product we developed and whoever likes can use it. We customize. We customize according to your needs. So this is why I would always suggest, hey, let's chat, let's meet and talk about how we can assist you, what maybe you have pain points we can address really easily. And maybe we are talking about like a real full solution, as I said, consisting of software, hardware, and services. Definitely we can help you with. So let's see.
Above the time already. I would say we, if there should be some more questions, we will come back to you later on, answer those. But if there should be like additional questions, of course you can get in contact with us. We will share our contact details also. And
actually, the timing is pretty well. It's just 45 minutes. I didn't expect that. So here's a little teaser for our next webinar, held by our experts Tony Brodowski and John Jerusalem, happening on November the 20th, about hygiene management and nutrition trends. So there's the invitation to join. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation. It was really great to have you. Before we stop, if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to us. You can also send us an email, and do not just sign off right away. There is a little, the last poll I promised for today. There's a little survey taking place about how satisfied you were with the webinar. And actually, Yannick, did I mention that there's a promotion taking place on our BT line in the countries who have a web shop? Did I mention that?
You didn't mention it yet, but to be honest, that webinar shouldn't be about any kind of promotion for Postmax.
Okay, so I don't mention it.
But thank you very much for participation, and see you on our next webinar, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.